Hi there. The purpose of this video is just to cover how to get into Google Communities. I really like Google Communities because, again, unlike Twitter or Facebook, I'm allowed to write a lot more, and the integration of Google apps into even Google Communities can be pretty outstanding. So let's take a look at that. So I'm at plus.google.com, or you can get there by logging into Google the same way you would if you were going to Gmail or Drive, clicking on the waffle in the top right hand corner, and then clicking Google+. That will take you to your stream. And if you were working after the last video, you were coached to develop circles and start adding people to those circles. Once you've got that going, you'll start to see more posts here. And there's one other way to gather content on your homepage, and that's by joining a few communities. And so I'm going to go ahead and show you that today. You'll hover over the home button and click it and go to communities. Now I've already joined several communities just simply by doing a few searches, or when I attend a conference I often hear about these types of communities. So a Google community reminds me of a Facebook group. It's kind of the same thing. Now as you can see, I've joined plenty to keep me busy. I do not have these people in my circles. So if there's Susie Smith inside of this Google Docs and Drive group, I did not add her to a circle. I'm just joining this community to read their content. So for example, I'll just jump into the DPI K16 Social Studies PLC. So I do not know a lot of these people. They're not in my circle, and they don't have to be, because I'm enjoying what I'm reading from these folks in this community. So because I'm not concerned about putting all these people in my circles, I've really just expanded my PLN by hundreds of people. So I can kind of scroll down and start reading some of this content, and if there are things that I like, I can give it a +1, which in essential you would kind of call it like giving it a like, right? Same concept really, or starring it in Twitter, right? And if I'd like to share this post, let's just say I actually read this, I clicked it, opened it, and I read it. I would click share, and now Google's asking me, where do you want to share it? How do you want to handle this? So I would write something brilliant that I would like to share with my follower, or people that, well, I guess I get to decide who is going to see this. Something awesome. I would honestly write something a lot more intellectual than that, and then I can decide who do I want to see it. Now right now I have it set to be public, that anybody in Google Plus can see that. So I'm just going to X that out. I usually don't do that, and I can decide who do I want to see that. So maybe it would just be my ed tech friends, and how about some social studies, some history people. Okay, so as I have it now, only these two circles of people will see this post. Not my family, not people from my IT group that wouldn't be interested in this. Unlike Twitter and Facebook, you really get to decide who sees your content. And sometimes Twitter can get bogged down, at least my stream can, with posts that I'm not necessarily interested in, but I don't want to unfollow people. In Google Plus, instead of essentially spamming people with all sorts of posts, you can decide which groups you want to see which posts. Pretty neat. Or I can reshare this content to other communities. So I happen to know the Southwest Wisconsin GAG is a pretty good community. I can share it with that whole community. So you can take content from a community and share it with the world, really, public, with certain circles, or with other communities. So there's some pretty easy ways to just share content. Really, if you struggled making circles of people and adding people in to follow, that's really okay, because you can come into Google Communities and find lots of communities to join and just read that content. Just in my little experience alone, I have more communities to follow or to read than I know what to do with. So don't worry if you were someone, and this often happens, if you were someone that struggled really finding people to follow or finding people to put in your circles, that's okay, because just come into Google Communities, join a bunch of communities, and you will be so full of opportunity to connect with other educators. Now, if you're someone that, when you want to look at communities, you can ask around. You can, when you go to a conference, there's almost always a Google community that's associated, or you can just try a few searches. So I happen to know that I'm interested in Google Apps for education. Let's just do a random search and see if I can find anything. Okay, so just in a simple Google Apps for education, I found plenty. Now, some of them are going to be very regional specific or location specific, like universities and colleges, but there are plenty of here that will be just fine for me to use. So whatever you're interested in, do a search and see if you like it. So let's think of something that's not necessarily ed tech. Let's think Project Lead the Way, something that's not Google or directly ed tech. Great example here, Project Lead the Way. There are several different opportunities for you just to check out, and some of them are private that you would have to ask to join, and that's probably because they're a private group or it's a teacher just getting started and has it locked down pretty tight. So you get the idea, right? So hop into Google Plus, and then on the far left, click on Communities, and join a few communities, and those communities will stream to your feed, your homepage. So for example, I must have joined a couple groups here. For example, this GAG Tri-State, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. This is showing up on my homepage stream because I joined that community. So give it a try. I promise you will find it to be very rewarding. Just think, because of Google Plus, you have the opportunity to connect with thousands of educators on your schedule. And for me, this tool, along with other social media platforms, has been essential in developing my PLN.